So what we're going to be doing today is rating 10 of the most popular new summer fragrance releases of 2022 so far. So what I ended up doing here was going on Fragrantica, sorting by this year's releases, and then sorting by most popular. And from there, I went through and I filtered out all of the summer-oriented releases from top down. So we're starting at the top, being the number 1 most popular, and worked our way down to number 10. And so along the way, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way up to the number 1 most popular. And I'm going to be rating each one of these as we go to see how good or maybe how not so good some of these new summer releases are. It's been a really good year for flankers and new releases in general. So there's a good amount of competition, and I think you'd be surprised at how good a lot of these are. And I think we've really made some great progress this year in the fragrance community with some of these releases. These are going to be around for a long time. I will link these down below. Some you can get at a discount price, others not quite yet. So just kind of look out for that. Save some money where you can using those links. We're going to get right into it. First up, we have at number 10, most popular, Lacoste L1212 Blanc Eau Fraiche. This one's got grapefruit, ginger, lemon, apple. Done a first impressions. Can't remember for sure if I've done a review yet. If not, I will knock that out at some point. But I do know in my first impressions, one thing I did say was that when this comes in at a more affordable price, it's going to be a summer hit, right? Because at retail, you're looking at the typical $80 or so, which is you know, kind of expensive for Lacoste when you can get them on discounters for significantly less. Now, this one has finally started to work its way down into, I want to say I saw it around the $40 range for 100 ml, which is much more like it. At that price there, 40 bucks, this is a killer scent. I mean, it just is really nice and fresh, you know, and very pleasant. Lacoste is great at one thing, and that is creating clean, fresh, and ultimately very wearable scents that really any guy can pull off. I'm actually going to give this one an 8.5 out of 10. That's a pretty solid rating in my opinion because, you know, Lacoste, they have a couple that I really like, most notably Lacoste L'Homme Intense. Those are good solid 9s for me. But when you get into this lineup, a lot of them are just okay. 6 out of 10s probably for me. But this one here gets an 8.5. Really solid and impressive. Next up, we have PACO Rabanne Invictus Platinum. Now this could go either way here. Some may consider it a summer scent, some may not. It is more aromatic, but I mean, when you do smell this one, you still do get that summertime appeal. And when you take a look at the note breakdown, which has mint, absinthe, cypress, lavender, you can see it's aromatic, but with some fresher touches as well. Maybe you consider it a spring fragrance, but I wanted to throw it in anyway here just to cover it and talk about it a little bit more. Because I've done a first impressions. I don't think I followed up with it too much, but it's pleasant, it's nice. I would probably for sure take this over the original Invictus. I would take it over probably Invictus Legend as well. Invictus Legend is much sweeter. This one, again, like I mentioned, a little bit more aromatic. It's toned back. I think it's a little bit more likable for a lot of people in the community. I give this one a 7 out of 10. It's not my favorite. It's just one of those things where it's better than the original for sure. It's better than Legend and that sort of thing, but I would still take Invictus Aqua, although they discontinued that. So, you know, if it's kind of into a middle ground here, could be good for spring, could work for summer as well, but still 7 out of 10. Next up, we have Montblanc Legend Red. So yeah, you know, this came out and of course I paid full retail for it. This is a 50 ml bottle. I don't remember what this ended up running me, but you know, 100 mils are going to be retailing for like 80 bucks for Legend. Don't do that. Don't pay that. And I'm sure I said the same thing in my first impressions probably, like, yeah, it's pleasant, but don't go out and pay retail for it. It's nowhere near that good. Blood orange, grapefruit, cedarwood are some of the main notes. It's nice and pleasant, but nothing really too impressive for me. Nothing that is like anything to get excited about, and it's kind of forgettable. You know, I haven't touched this one since that first impressions, and I honestly forgot what it smelled like. When I was looking through the list here and getting this put together, I'm like, Legend Red, huh, interesting. I have no clue what that even smells like, so I had to go and revisit it. It's just not very memorable. It's easily forgettable here, and so I don't know. For me, I'll give this one 6.5 out of 10. It's pleasant. It'll be a good compliment getter, but nothing crazy. So the number 7 most popular release this year in terms of the summer ones, right, is Gucci Guilty Parfum. So this one here is one that's been really impressive for me, as I've been talking about on the channel. It's got juniper, lemon, nutmeg, orange blossom. There's a couple other notes in here as well. But it doesn't sound like a summer fragrance, and it doesn't really look like one either, the bottle, you know, but when you smell it and you get all that freshness, but then you get that nutmeg and slight patchouli twist later on in the scent, it gives it this kind of semi-sweet bite, right? And at the end of the day, when you take a look at something like Invictus Aqua, the original Invictus, Azzaro Wanted, YSLY, EDT, EDP Parfum, those are all regarded as summer fragrances, but they all have some sweetness to them. And the fact of the matter is, that's just the direction we're going here. I mean, there's gonna be a lot of people who say, oh, this isn't a summer fragrance because it's got some sweetness to it. But yet they'll probably say that YSLY EDP is the best summer fragrance ever, right? So it's important to note that sweetness is kind of becoming just a natural thing in men's fragrances across the board, even summer ones. It's very archaic to think that a summer fragrance has to be nothing but fresh and citrus and aquatic and that's it. That's just unrealistic in this day and age. If you want to stick with all of those that were released 20 years ago, that's great. But if you're wanting to stay true to what's going on right now and stay present in the community, you're gonna have to get used to some sweetness in your summer scents. That's just how it is. I give this one 9.5 out of 10. This is a killer scent. It's parfum concentrated, it wears like one, it behaves like one. It's not too loud, it's not gonna offend people, but it does leave a nice trail and it has great longevity. If you want a summer fragrance with, believe it or not, a bit of a unique twist, check out Gucci Guilty Parfum. And kind of following that trend there, and it just kind of solidifies what's going on, we have Valentino UOMO, born in Roma, Coral Fantasy. So that's quite the name there, right? This one has red apple, tobacco, and bourbon geranium as just 3 of the notes there, kind of the ones I get. It's important to note that the tobacco in here is kind of more of a leafy, fresh tobacco. It's nothing like Spice Bomb Extreme tobacco or something like that. Much fresher, much more wearable. It complements the freshness and the fruitiness of the scent really well. And I think this is a very nice, fun and playful warm weather scent. It actually smells really good. The original Born in Roma, I didn't like at first. I've come around to it just because it's kind of got bits and pieces of an Invictus Aqua thing going on, but with its own twist as well. I like that one. Yellow Dream hasn't really done it for me, although I will revisit it and maybe I will like it better now. But Coral Fantasy has kind of been the most impressive to me. It seems to be the most unique out of that bunch there. Of course, not getting into the uniqueness of the original and UOMO Intense and stuff, but for what it is in this lineup, it's impressive. For me, I gotta give this one a 7. Actually, you know what, 7.5 out of 10. That's a solid rating in my opinion, you know, especially going up against what is about to come in this video. Like these ratings here maybe been a little bit mediocre, but just wait until we get into the top 5. But I think 7.5 out of 10 to hang with this crowd is pretty impressive. So speaking of top 5, we have Bad Boy Cobalt by Carolina Herrera. Yeah, it's actually surprised me that it's as popular as it is. I mean, this is the Fragrantica rankings here, which, you know, has some weight to it, more so, I guess, probably in the community, but that's what I'm saying. It surprises me that this is as popular as it is in the community. This one's got plum, it's got truffle, it's got vetiver, and by the way, this is a 200, or yeah, it's a 150 ml bottle. That's why it comes with a cap. If you buy the 100 mils, from what I've been told, it has the traditional, you know, sprayer without the cap, but that's why it looks like that. So plum and truffle, what's going on with this one here? You know, you're getting a fruitiness mixed with kind of a chocolatey sweetness, but it does work. It does have this kind of summer gourmand approach, I would suppose, and while I don't love it, I respect it. I think, hey, you know, this is their approach of maybe doing something a little bit different. I like the fruitiness in here. I like that plum opening. I think it's a really fun note when it's used in fragrances, and so it comes across nice. You know, it really does have kind of a youthful smell. You know, there's nothing mature about this, right? You know, very playful, but still, it's got that summery freshness with that trendy sweetness that's going on, all wrapped up in one. For me, I give it a 6.5 out of 10. Again, I respect what they're doing with this, but when it comes to everything else in this list, I would probably find myself gravitating towards a lot of the others. Number 4 most popular is Light Blue Italian Love. So you guys already know the drill on this one, I'm sure, but if you don't, this one has grapefruit, bergamot, ozonic notes, violet leaf, musk, all of that stuff. Very similar to Forever, but the key note that I want you to focus on with Italian Love is the bergamot. So Forever, you know, is really kind of, at this point, either love it or hate it. You know, if you love it, that's because you love grapefruit notes and fragrances, and to add on to that, you like a realistic smelling grapefruit, right? So if you like that, Forever is going to be for you. If you don't like that, then you're probably going to hate it because it's straight up grapefruit right off the top. So do be careful with that. But Italian Love introduces more bergamot, and it really provides a nice balance to all of that grapefruit up top. You still do pick up on that grapefruit note, but it just kind of equals things out a little bit. And then it dries down to the kind of watery feel from the violet leaf, the airy ozonic note kind of smell, and just a nice broad musk in the base of this one. I really love the DNA so much. And you know what this is really is, it's just a mod of Forever. I guarantee that's what it is. Like, of course, a lot of you guys know the process when you are creating a fragrance. The creative director submits a brief, the perfumers then start working on the scent, and they come up with a bunch of different versions, kind of all of the same thing, just tweaked. And so I would imagine that this is simply just another one of those versions. They picked Forever first, and they're like, hey, let's put out another limited edition flanker, and they just grabbed one of those mods. Guarantee that's what it is, but it's really, really nice. And enough beating around the bush, I give this one a 10 out of 10. To me, this is everything I look for in a summer scent, something new and refreshing. This is what people want. They want something new. And if you want to continue to get more new, exciting things, we have to support this type of stuff. At number 3, we have the new Terre d'Hermès Eau Givree. So this one here, it's got, let's see, citron, juniper berries, and woods. There's also, what is it, metallic notes or mineral notes, or one of the two. I think mineral notes in here as well. So what they did was they had to discontinue Eau Très Fraîche because of the increase in the restrictions with the IFRA and all that stuff. They, I guess, didn't want to reformulate it and keep it out. They figured, hey, might as well just re-release, right? So they discontinued Eau Très Fraîche, and this is going to take the replacement. I like it a lot. And honestly, after wearing it more and more, I think I would actually take this over Eau Très Fraîche. So it's one of those deals where for me, it worked out great. For some people, though, you may still prefer the OG. I like the updated presentation. The back of the bottle is frosted here. Probably shows up better in person than on camera. Gives it a nice look, gives it that, you know, summery look, and of course you get a cap. I actually prefer the cap. I do. I'm pretty old school and pretty generic. I just like caps, but the twist down to expose the atomizer is pretty cool as well. And of course that is still coming on all of the other bottles, at least as of right now. 9 out of 10. Love it. Really, really good release. Now, the only reason I don't give it a 10 out of 10 is just because I find myself reaching for a lot of the others. Mainly because this is more mature. It's Terre d'Hermès DNA still. And in summertime for me, I just want fun and playful in a lot of instances. Now there are times, of course, where you want to be dressed up, and this is what I would wear when I want to be dressed up and taken more seriously in a professional setting. But most times, the overwhelming majority of times, I'm wearing a fragrance. It's going to be when I'm just doing casual things in summertime, just having fun, enjoying the weather. And this doesn't really fit that type of mood for me, but still a fantastic release. Number 2, Dior Homme Sport 2021, but you know, this did come out this year in 2022. A little bit weird. It's got lemon, bergamot, woods, aldehydes, and elemi. I love it. I really do. The 2017 version, I did not care for. The 2012 I liked, and the 2008 I really, really like. So it kind of started with the best and went downhill for me personally. A lot of people like the 2017, there's nothing wrong with it, but I think the 2021 is so much more interesting. It's got this mature kind of almost resinous type of smell to it. The way the LME comes across, it gives it this more refined and gentlemanly, masculine smell that you didn't really get too much of in the 2017 version. Of course, they did away with the iris after these past two releases, but I don't think this needs it. You know, I felt the 2017 needed it because it needed something to make it a bit more interesting. This one does well on its own here. Just with the airiness and the lightness, the lemon is really punchy and strong off top, and it gets your attention. And it's just a really nice signature scent for the summertime. It's another one of those deals where it's really nice for a more professional environment. If you're at work or school or something, you just want something more upscale, this is a great one. I give this a 9.5 out of 10. Really, really like it a lot, and I wasn't expecting to ever give a Dior Homme Sport that type of rating, but it deserves it. And no surprise, because it hasn't showed up yet, the #1 most popular new summer release of 2022, so far anyway, although nothing is going to dethrone this one. I would bet money on it. It's Acqua di Gio Eau de Parfum. This has the support of newcomers to the fragrance community who, you know, maybe don't have a ton of experience with the Acqua di Gio line, but they know how big it is, and so they're automatically trying it. But it also has the support of the OG Acqua di Gio wearers back in the late 90s. I mean, that is so powerful. Not to say that people who used to wear the OG haven't supported Profumo and Essenza and Profondo and all of that, but just to have a true Eau de Parfum of the EDT, the iconic EDT that they wore in high school or college or whatever, that's pretty big. So of course this one has orange, mineral notes, sea notes as well, clary sage, lavender, aromatic mid, fruity fresh top. You get a little bit of that mineral note smell like in Profondo, and even a little bit of this mysterious borderline smoky twist from Profumo. So it's like a mashup. And of course bits and pieces of the OG EDT. It's Acqua di Gio all grown up, and I love everything about it. 10 out of 10, should have gone without saying. If you know the channel, you know that this one was going to place high, and 10 out of 10 for sure. It's just everything that I would have looked for in an Eau de Parfum, and I just wore it yesterday actually, in fact, and I enjoyed every second of it. I love wearing this one, especially in the heat. It smells amazing. This is the one to get. All right guys, that's going to do it for me. The 10 most popular new summer fragrance releases of 2022, rated from 1 to 10. A lot of great releases in here. Nothing that went below a 5 out of 10, which is pretty solid. I mean, this year has been good. Even the not so good releases are still at least slightly above average or right on average. Nothing terrible yet, so that's pretty remarkable. Links will be down below. That's gonna do it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you tomorrow with another one. Take care.